Oh yeah. I'm eating this tail. Feels good. See if I can take this big one. Yep. It's so nice. My damage is pretty bad, you know, because I'm a low level. But yeah, as you can see, it's letting me face tank him. Hey guys, I want to show you the most OP build right now with Sentinel, and it's using healing hands, and you're able to generate massive amounts of ward. You can do it with any class, Void Knight, Pally, Forge Guard, you pick. I think Pally's the best, but you know, you can do it however you want. Okay, I want to get straight to the point and talk how this works, because I know a lot of these guides can be confusing. I just want to teach you how to do this, and you can pretty much do it with any setup you want. All you need here is healing hands, and you got to level up the ways. So you either pick Hand of Aurelius or Cleric's Hammer. So it'll either proc, it'll cast healing hands when you use a melee attack, or smite. And what you do is you invest in these nodes here that gives you ward. And what it says here, if an ally has an effect that causes them to gain ward per second based on their missing health, and all healing's hands, healing is converted to ward. So all you need is one simple item like this right here where it says 5% current health loss per second, and you gain the missing health as ward. You do that, and healing hands is 100% converted to ward. And then, boom, there you go. You get tons and tons and tons of ward. So you can see you can easily get up over 20k while you're casting. Now let's go back into healing hands. And the nodes that cause the most ward, I feel like this one gives a lot, and then these two right here. I still need a plus to healing hands on my helmet, but these two, these upfront healings, and then the additional healing over time, these give a ton, especially when you add in healing effectiveness. Like right now I have 680%. That's how I'm getting all this ward from these two nodes. There's other things, you know, you got to play with. Like, see, I need 1 point in here for mana cost, so I never run out of mana. So I can just sit there and constantly hit bosses and face tank them. So basically, this is the layout you want for healing hands. So then you either pick whether, I like to use smite, or you pick you want a Cleric's Hammer. And all you got to do is just attack and you cast it. It's that simple. Okay, so my primary skill is smite. So you see, every time I cast smite, it's casting healing hands every time when I do that. So I love this build. It makes you so tanky. I face tank every single boss with this in the game, with this setup. So like I said, you can either do this with smite. That's the only spell you can use, but you can use any melee attack. But if you want to go my route, I'll show you how I went with smite. Another really good thing is you want to stack a lot of cast speed. The faster you cast, the more ward you can gain per second. You know, I think I get probably about 5,000, 6,000 per second. So I'm generating tons of ward. Yes, it does. You know, it disappears really quick. But as long as you're casting, it's just pumping it. So the main stats I'm focusing on is increased healing effectiveness. Got that on my rings and my shield. I need more. There's trying to get it on this helmet right here. This is like the most popular helmet in the game, Peak of the Mountain. So I'm stacking cast speed on every single slot that I can get it. And I'm getting healing effectiveness on every single slot I can get. This too is a really good chase item, +3 to smite. If you're playing smite, I paid 1 million gold for this off the bazaar. And like all these little idols here, I got healing effectiveness on all of them. I thought I'd never find a use for this stat ever. I was playing this game a year ago. It's like, oh man, not another healing effectiveness idol. This is useless. But actually, it's really good now. So between healing effectiveness and cast speed, I'm also stacking crit and crit damage. Okay, so now back to my damage deliverer right here. This is going to be smite. So what I really like about smite too is you can get insane amounts of damage with this, like 250% more multiplier. Yeah, it sucks your life out. So my counterbalance for this is to have like no life on my gear at all, have the least amount of life as possible, have enough regen to be able to cover for me constantly casting it, so I don't ever have to worry about it, because all my damage is coming from warded hits. And then I got a little bit of the sacrifice just to balance it out, make sure, you know, I'm not draining too much life so it stays balanced. I don't want to lose too much cast speed, because when you put points in this, you're losing how much ward you can generate. So I only put 3 points into the base crit. 6% is a pretty good amount. With all the other crit stuff I have, I pretty much crit 100% of the time now. And then obviously 4 points in crit multi. Now, you can go any direction you want. You can do the fire version here. You can even be a void knight and you can go the void version. But I like the lightning because you can hit multiple targets with it. It feels pretty good to me. And there's another huge benefit to lightning, especially if you're a pally. Let me go to the paladin tree. Right here, you get 100 crit multiplier with lightning skills. That's massive. So you're pretty much not going to have as much damage with anything else unless you're going lightning, because you do get a huge multiplier here. I mean, you'll get the crit chance with anything. That's why I go pally. And I'll let you take a look at this tree if you do want to copy my build. And I just have 20 points right here. This is another really huge helper right here, Time and Faith, to help you balance. Every time you cast Smite, you get 25 health back, even though it drains 18% of your life. This also helps with the mana. Okay, so another really important part of this build is Sigils of Hope. This thing gives you a lot of DPS. So tell me about 165k tooltip. These added quite a bit of DPS each stack. There's multiple ways you can do this sigil. I like to do it this way because you can actually get 5 of them if you want, but I'm just running 4. I'll let you see this tree if you want to copy it. But this node right here I really like. Chance to summon a sigil on kill, so you don't even have to bother casting at all. You can just basically let this buff build up on its own while you're killing monsters. So I take this instead of actually coming down here and getting 5. But you can go with 5. I just like the fact, I just don't even bother casting at all, and I let it build up on its own. But yeah, there's a lot of great nodes here. Like this thing gives you 25% increased damage. You can get fire damage per sigil. You can get a chance to ignite. A lot of juicy little things here. A little bit of endurance. This gives you more time, and then that also gives you another extra one. And the way these work is, yeah, basically they just orbit you. You can have up to 3 at a time. I got 4. And then you do additional damage with them. Now that they're back off, you can see. So I got like 122k DPS without them. You pop all 4 up, and then you got 165. And you can't really go by this tooltip because if you look at my crit rate, it says only have 38% spell crit, which it isn't. It's more like 100%. It doesn't count. So in this game, spells can get crit from increased regular critical strike chance as well as spell critical strike. So it's not going to calculate the damage with that crit damage included. So it's basing it off your 39%. But then again, there's resistances and everything kind of throw this off too. So I'm going to go ahead and whoop on the boss now so you can kind of see what this does. Alright, so we're going to come in here and beat up on you. You pretty much just space tanker the whole fight. Like this slam. Level 101 does like 12k though. That one hurts a lot more. Yeah, you can basically just face tank most stuff in this game. Some of the 100 stuff can be a little more difficult. You see I'm basically getting here drained by this beam the whole time. That's quite a bit of damage, but you can tank it. It's actually more dangerous to move and stop casting. And there you go. Also too, there's a helmet. This helmet you need for pretty much any crit build these days. This comes from the Lightless Arbor dungeon. If you keep farming that over and over, you can drop this helmet. This is like the second +1 legendary I've got. I'm trying to get higher, obviously. But yeah, you want to try to get a good legendary one and juice it up with some healing hands, obviously. I even have the cheaper version because a tier 6 +3 is expensive. They're like 3 million. So, you know, I'm not going to dump a +3 tier 6 one into, you know, a cheaper version of the helmet. If I find like a tier LP3 or 4 one, then I'll get it. Alright, yeah, I might as well show this while I'm here. I'm going to go ahead and try to get healing hands on this peak of the mountain. No! Lightning resist. I failed again. Oh well. I'll keep trying. Now I'm going to go ahead and show some videos of basically me leveling. This build you can start out at like level. You start killing the exiled mages, and you can find in one of these early, and you're pumping. Like I face tanked every single boss in this game, every single one. I'm going to even show videos of it, so I'm going to go ahead and play all those for you. Thanks for watching. Also, real quick too, I'm actually going to go over every piece of gear real quick in case you do want to copy this build. But I'm basically just showing you guys how to set this up with anything you want to use. But right here, helmet or my amulet, pretty solid. I got lucky. I sealed, got crit multi, got damage, got elemental resist. You definitely want some shock and crit because that's both going to reduce resistances with a lightning build. Those are two things you really need: is shock and shred armor. Because once you get to like monster level 75, they resist. You do like 66% less damage once you get that high. As for a shield, you want to use a shield with a pally even if you're casting spells, because you get 42 more spell damage off the passive tree if you're using a shield. Then obviously you want you a high tier healing effectiveness roll on the shield. Everything else is whatever resistances you need. Chest armor, I'm just stacking attunement for general damage. Same with the spell void damage. It's the best I got for right now. It adds 78 spell damage, or increased void damage, and 10 spell void damage. It's not my build, but it's extra damage, so I'm throwing it in there. Of course, need like healing or health regen to, balance out my casting because it drains my life. I mean, heck, this would be really good for a fire version because the base armor has 78% increased fire damage. Here, I'd rather have a wand. I just haven't found a good enough one to buy yet. So you can actually get up to 50% cast speed on one of these, and you can get the wand base that has another 12%, which is insanely fast. The critical strike chance, it's debatable. I went with that. I mean, if you have enough crit, you can put like lightning damage on it or spell damage. Ignite, just an extra little bit of damage. Shock, of course, you remember shock and spell shreds, your main two ways of getting major amounts of damage. Shock drains their lightning resist, shreds their armor. And the two rings, they're both just healing effective rings. Lightning damage is great, spell damage, of course any resist you need, and then of course the tier 6, tier 7 healing effectiveness roll. See, I did find a tier 7 healing effectiveness ring right here for a decent price. I think I spent like 200k on it. Yeah, I actually got really lucky with these gloves, because you really want a lower roll on the amount of life you lose per second, because it really helps with the regen wise. So yeah, you see these go up to like 14%. I got lucky. You want 4 or 5%, 6% lower the better. And of course, I got lucky because it does have a cast speed tier 6 roll with it, which is really nice. And cast speed is everything for me in this game and for this build, because the faster you cast, the more wards you get. Boots, I'm obsessed with move speed. That's all there's to it. I want to move the fastest possible. We got healing, health regen, basically, you know what I mean? Just trying to make up for my lost life. I really don't have any flat regen, but that could work too. And then I did go over this earlier. This thing I spent 1,000,000 gold on. I think I got really lucky on it because they're usually a bit more. +3 to smite gives you a lot more options. You can hit more targets. You can get, it's huge. And then of course cast speed on it. That is a tier 5 roll, but it's just only 14. But I'm lucky I have cast speed on it. And regardless, being able to get this for 1,000,000 gold and put cast speed on it, I think it's a heck of a deal. All right. And then basically all these little ones I'm using, just healing effectiveness. You can get these really cheap. Just look on there for ones that have like higher than 14 and just buy a bunch of them. Some of them are free, 20k gold, 10k gold. I got lucky and found this one. That's huge, just 91% in a 4 slaughter. That's really good. And then I do have a little bit of crit and lightning damage, just trying to keep my crit up there to make sure I'm pretty much critting every single hit. Blessings, whatever you really want. I mean, the only important ones like crit multi. Like I even have fire damage here. I'd rather have lightning damage, but I guess I got stuck with fire damage. These aren't even, here we go, here's my 90% lightning damage. That's a huge one. So these two are like my main damage ones. I haven't even gotten the last two yet in this character. I still have some more work. But yeah, any more questions, just leave them in the comments. I want to go over the gear and stuff for you real quick. I'll show my my Void Knight one later, and I'll also show a melee version one later. So now I'm going to go ahead and play the videos. Thanks for watching. Or played a character to the end game. I'm sure you have one of these laying around. Drops your health and gives you ward. It converts healing hands to ward, and it just piles it up. It gives you tons of ward. Love it. So I'm gonna see if I can actually face tank on it. I bet I probably can. Give it a shot. Oh yeah. I'm eating this tank. Feels good. See if I can take this big one. Yep. It's so nice. My damage is pretty bad, you know, because I'm a low level. But yeah, as you can see, it's letting me face tank him. And all I'm doing is just using an attack skill. I'll show you some more later. I'm going to go ahead and finish killing them, and we'll go to the next part of this. Yeah, just take care of everything. I love this build. Yeah, just take care of everything. I love this build.
Shadow will cover this world once more. Pathetic. This world earns it. Do you deny it? My shadow will cover this world once more. Pathetic. My vengeance will be paid in ash. This hate, this despair, oblivion burns within me. This world earned its fruit. Do you deny it? Do you think my defeat changes anything? This
So as you see, this build can even do these 100s. Pretty much face sync everything still. I love this build. It's just such a good, smooth running build. You just have to fine tune it. And she's good to go. Pretty much the most important thing is fine-tuning the build to where you always have max mana. Even though I may not be hitting 25k ES right now, I'm like at the optimum performance for how much healing effectiveness I have. This dungeon's really good for farming the crit helmet, peak of the mountain. And didn't get it to drop this time. Did manage to get a 1 LP one earlier, which is nice. Face of the mountain. It's a shield.